Hello and welcome to Star Trek Rewind, your weekly visit to the future in the past, and today we're talking about TNG Season 1, Episode 10, Haven. My name is Captain Froze,
And I am Ninja Nerd.
And I'm your friendly neighbor Parseniac.
and today we're going to be talking about the episode that's more commonly known as the one where Troy almost gets married for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. Because apparently,
Because I
I don't
think
know.
she nearly gets married again, and then she does get married in one of the movies, so
Yeah, I think that's Nemesis.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, what do we have to say about this episode?
So
I'd
are
like
we
to start
starting with
off.
trivia or just general things first?
Trivia, I guess, first category.
Oh, okay.
Alright, here's something really weird that I just read. So apparently, stylist Richard Saber was nominated for an Emmy Award for this episode in the category of hairstyling in 1988.
To be fair, I think that's the only category that this episode could have possibly competed in.
I mean, they put a lot of emphasis on it, is all I'm saying.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one redeeming feature of this episode is that Wesley Crusher does not appear.
Yeah, that's good.
Hmm.
Same as the last one with Deanna Troy not appearing, except Deanna Troy is the main character of this one, which is definitely a bad point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor
Do.
Troy gets a short end of the stick in this show, doesn't she?
Well, I mean, she's just an awful character, to be honest. Just in general. Oh, also, I guess the trivia, this might be more continuity, but it does kind of, is this the first time that they really introduce Troy and Riker's relationship? Or,
It was alluded to in Encounter at Farpoint when Troy did that telepathic thing in Riker's head and called him by a strange nickname that she never did again, I think.
yeah, that makes sense.
And then never used those telepathic abilities again.
Yeah, for some reason. Which might have actually made her more than completely useless.
Yeah. But this is a start of, will they, won't they, between Commander Riker and Counselor Troy for about 5 seasons before they finally decide they won't, and Troy hooks up with Worf. And then as soon as the series ends and the final episode of the series literally shows Worf and Troy going out with one another, as soon as it ends, they decide to break off the relationship, and then in the movies, Riker marries Troy again.
Ah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and not to mention, she also seemed very committed to following through with this guy, like random dude from this one episode.
I love how this guy, the idea of marrying Troy was so abhorrent that he teleported himself onto a ship infected with the plague.
Yeah, like they also didn't actually ever explain why they had like dreams of each other throughout
That's
this
just
entire thing.
Sloppy script writing. I mean, what were they thinking? Oh, I know. Let's make an entire episode where Troy has this arranged marriage to this guy, okay? And they're going to like each other, but they're going to have absolutely zero chemistry with one another. And then we introduce Troy's really embarrassing mother, and it will be hilarious. Oh, but how do we resolve the plot? Oh, I don't know. Let's get an alien race that's nearly extinct to come in, and there's someone on that ship that he's been dreaming of his entire life, and it won't be explained, and the timing won't be explained, and the motives won't be explained. But no, we just use the Deus Ex Machina and jump on the ship and fly away.
Yeah, because that's totally how it works. Like, oh wait, no one else can go on the ship now because it's filled with plague. I
Haha.
guess.
There's nothing for it. It's just sloppy script writing.
Yeah, like
It's
Anyway.
sloppy episode overall, really.
let's see if we can move on to metaphors and themes because I feel like we've kind
Metaphors-
of gone off of trivia.
Okay.
And themes. I think blatant sexism was a pretty common theme or regular theme in this episode.
Mhm.
I mean, everything from the very first scene where you have, the only two female characters who received even an iota of character development in the first season, being Troy and Yar. We're in the transporter room at the start, right? And then something beams on board, and the weird talking face thing talks to them. And then it bursts open, right? And do you see the reactions of the two female characters? Troy
Yeah.
was,
Like,
oh no, I'm in this. I've been subjected to this arranged marriage, which means I'll have to abandon my entire career and everything I wanted to accomplish, and get married to a doctor who doesn't actually seem to be employed by anyone, and live God knows how where. Meanwhile, Commander Yars, or is it Lieutenant Yars?
yeah, it's Lieutenant, I think.
Lieutenant Yars' reaction is, "Oh, look at those jewels!"
Yeah, like I remember seeing that and just thinking, like, you guys have replicators, right? I mean, you can just make any amount of jewelry at any point if you want it. Like, it's not really worth anything. There is no money.
So far, up until this point, Yar's pretty much been characterized as, pretty much, how do you explain it? Hardcore, pretty emotionless person with a traumatic childhood who doesn't have much in the way of a personality, but makes up for it with, fighting, pretty much.
I guess, yeah. But then suddenly they're just like, oh, jewelry. Hold the phone.
I honestly question whether anybody on the entire writing staff for season 1, and most of the rest of the show for that matter, ever actually talked to a woman, or
have they had any prior experience?
They actually have women on the show. Do you think they could ask them for some advice on how to develop the female characters?
no.
No.
That's not an option, no.
That's too logical,
Sorry.
isn't it?
Script writing
Yeah,
is for
it's
men,
too-
obviously.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
totally. I mean, this is, first aired 1987, so, yeah, totally.
But seriously, considering that it's supposed to be showing a utopian future where everyone's achieved equality and no racism or no sexism, the
You'd think there'd be
expectation,
less sexism
Yeah.
built into it.
the expectation
Or,
that Councillor Troy will drop her entire life and go off and marry this guy and live with him God knows where is absurd.
I mean, I think that kind of the idea was that she's, like, honoring vows that she had already taken previously, but still,
But
it
even
seems
so,
pretty...
even
like,
if you accept the
steep
idea
faith.
of the arranged marriage, right? Why is it automatically assumed that the woman will give up her life and the man won't?
Yeah, I know. Like, couldn't he just go and, like, join the ship? I mean, they have tons of civilians on board, so why not just be a doctor on the ship? Wouldn't that make so much more sense?
You think so?
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any...
No.
But, I mean, to go back to that with like, how she was so intent on, like, just giving up her entire career. Later on, Wyatt, the guy that she's set to marry, asks, like, are you sure you want to go through with this? And she's like, yes, of course. And I'm like, wait a minute. Asking if she wants to go through with this implies that she actually did have a choice. So, what is it then?
I think
Like,
he was not really asking if she wanted to do it, more of just...
I
It's
feel
kind of more
like
of a respect, really.
I feel like if she had said no, he probably wouldn't. They just would have called it off, likely.
Well,
I mean, that's just speculation, but it seems like what would have happened, considering that he was also not really that interested, given that he randomly ran away with this, like, lady that showed up on a plague ship out of nowhere that he's never met before. So, I mean, I don't know. Just seems unlikely.
yeah. I think the overarching metaphor of this episode was choosing between honoring your culture's traditions versus following what you believe is best for you. Really,
I think that's
Except
looking a bit
they
too
never-
deep into it.
They never actually address that question, is it? It's, oh, you should, respect your family's traditions unless, the person you've been dreaming of your entire life and drawing conveniently turns up out of nowhere on a spaceship and whisks you away. In which case, sure, it's fine to abandon everything that you've promised to do and
wait,
get
that's
out
actually
of there.
why is it okay for Wyatt to just abandon everything, but it's not okay for Troy to say, "No, I'm not going to go through with this."
But Troy never did say that she wasn't going to go through with it.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like this is more of a screenwriter's cop out to have the marriage not actually happen, but not have Troy act dishonorably. I guess.
Yeah,
Not-
because
but I'm not even really sure why they care so much about it. I mean, it's not like she's a Klingon or something that's all about honor. She's just half Betazoid, half human. So there's no sort of expectations there. I'd assume. I mean, who's she worried about making angry? Her mother, who she doesn't even like. I mean,
yeah, other than that first scene where Troy finds out that the arranged marriage is going through and she looks distressed and unhappy about it, she never once, objects to the marriage as a concept or tries to get out of it or says, I don't want to do this again. It's just entirely forgotten about for the rest of the episode.
I mean, honestly, I think that point would be more, have more contention between her and Riker going on. Just the knowledge that she would just completely give up all of that between her and Riker at the drop of a hat, just because some guy showed up and was like, hey, I'm going to get married to you. And she didn't fight it whatsoever.
I mean, if this episode had taken a slightly different plotline, right? If it comprised instead of, Deanna Troi making progressively more and more elaborate schemes in order to try and get out of the arranged marriage, right? And then have her mother, the telepath, interfering the whole way along. That could actually be interesting.
Yeah,
But
well,
as it is,
maybe.
more interesting.
This is her mother and Troy we're talking about here. But yes, definitely more interesting.
Speaking of which, can we move on to characters? Because I've got plenty to say.
Oh,
All right,
yes.
characters.
Oh yes.
So,
Luxwana Troy.
yes, Luxwana Troy,
The
the
only
unfortunately recurring character.
the only recurring character from any series who's more annoying than Deanna Troi. And unfortunately, she plays at least a partial role in virtually all of them. I mean, the same actor was married to Gene Roddenberry, and actress was married to Gene Roddenberry and voices the ship's computer in every season of Star Trek and the 2009 movie.
What? That was her?
Yeah.
Huh.
You guys didn't realize that?
Nope.
No, I had no idea.
You're gonna recognize the voice of the ship's computer from now on, I promise.
Oh no.
Gosh.
But I mean, to her credit, right? Unlike Deanna Troi, right? She's not badly acted. She's not
She's just a
an
bad
unrealistic character. She's not a poorly fleshed out or a character who defies belief often, right? She's a well fleshed out, well acted, plausible character who is really, really annoying.
Yes, that is completely summed it up. Whereas Deanna Troi is is basically like a cardboard cutout with it, apparently being speaking it through the microphone found at a McDonald's drive-through.
She's fully acted with all the conviction of a wet sponge. And on top of that, she's still annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, because
but her mother is just obnoxious for no reason.
Because, no episode would be complete without Deanna Troy at some point stating the blindingly obvious. That moment when the ship full of people who've gotten the plague, or were they the Tyrellians?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Trillions.
When they appear on the view screen, right? And the woman with the blonde hair who was from Wyatt's drawings, right, is standing there on the stage, right? Everyone else on the crew who hasn't seen the drawings is just standing there looking at the screen, totally not reacting, totally non-vacant expressions. Meanwhile, Deanna Troy stands up, walks slowly across the bridge with this shocked expression on her face, and explains the blatantly obvious. She says, I think literally, it's the woman from Wyatt's drawings.
Yep.
Then there was this brings up a weird point that I think needs to be brought up about this series. So during that cut, right, they cut to commercial, and then they cut back, and then they have the, addition to the captain's log, right?
Right.
Where, Picard just summarizes what just happened. Are those meant to be actually happening, in the action? Because that would be very awkward if, they suddenly start the call, and then Picard's like, wait a minute, stop everything here. I need to do this addition to my captain's log, and just,
and it's
fill
always
in the space.
And there's several times throughout the series, right, when it's even more blatant, when, the captain's log says, we are currently standing at gunpoint and the ship's going to blow up in 2 minutes. And you just want someone to come on the side and say, Captain, now that you've taken so long to do that log, it's only 1 minute until the ship blows up. Now, would you please stop monologuing and pay attention for a minute?
But also, just in this specific instance, the captain says, it doesn't make any sense that somebody from this boy's imagination can be really here. But I'm just like, how do you know about her? Did he show you his drawings as well? Is he just going around the entire ship showing each of the bridge crew his random drawings of this lady he found?
Hi, I'm here to marry your colleague. But could you look at these drawings of this woman that I love instead? Who is she? Oh, I don't know, but I'm sure she'll turn up someday.
Incidentally, they're very lucky that he happened to be a very good artist. Because, if he wasn't, they would just have no idea who that person was, and they just wouldn't have sent for him to the bridge.
Just a stick drawing.
Yeah, or just, I don't know. Let me see. Let me just use my artistic talents to see what I could produce. Okay. There's, hair.
Oh, boy.
And some eyes.
But
there we go.
other than Luxwana
pretty
Troy, nice. Other than Luxwana Troy, right? Every single other character, guest actor, was utterly wooden and uninteresting and emotionless. Once again, cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wyatt wasn't a believable character for an instant, and the relationship between Wyatt and Deanna Troy had zero chemistry whatsoever. Both of his parents were pretty much cutouts.
Yeah, and
The same cutouts that would pretty much get applied to Worf's parents a few seasons later, of the father being, oh, I want to just look around this ship.
Oh yeah, his for some reason I thought you were talking about some sort of weird his actual family, but no, his Russian parents.
Yeah.
Incidentally, why does Worf speak with an American accent if he was raised by Russians?
Don't
that's
ask
something
too
I
many
always
questions.
Anyway,
Why does Picard speak with an English accent when he's French?
I don't know. Maybe maybe from Picard's perspective, everyone's speaking French because of the universal translator.
Yeah, maybe France got blown up during the Third World War and the British settled there.
That's a possibility. Just what is it? They used to own Normandy, right? That entire area in northern France. and also some bits of Western France as well.
For a
So-
while, yeah, but
Yeah, like
it's been
around the
back and forth.
1400s they did.
Yeah,
But then
that
eventually
whole,
that got driven out.
yeah, Battle of Agincourt.
Yeah.
That's not when they were driven out. That's when they re-established their claim.
Yeah.
I probably butchered that historical lesson, and I'm going to get all sorts of hell from it from our imaginary viewers. But
Okay.
Hey, we have like so many fans. Yep.
That one guy is just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to fact check this and just send you a very harshly worded email about this historical inaccuracy.
yeah. Anything else on characters?
That one extra who was operating the transporter had a really deep voice. I found that very interesting.
He was
was
a
a-
good character.
There wasn't much very interesting about this episode.
And
Incidentally-
Data's one line was brilliant.
Oh yeah, Data's line was great.
Oh yes.
Like, please resume the petty bickering.
I found it most intriguing.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Oh, inside. Just going back to the extra for a second. This is just kind of a tangent, but it's still the best extra in history. Still remains that guy from Independence Day, who at the president's speech just had the most genuine salute you'd ever seen. It was amazing. Wait, I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of it.
yeah, it was an awesome extra.
Have either of you seen the movie Being John Malkovich?
I'm afraid I haven't. No.
There's this one guy, right? They're filming at the side of the road, right? And of course, during filming, they've got extras driving cars up and down the road to make it look busy, right? And there's this one extra who is driving along, right? And he's in the passenger seat as some other extra is driving. And this is totally unscrewed.
Look at this guy. He's the best.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Like just the conviction in those eyes.
I love the part from that movie. And he says, you know, the British guys, the British pilots are sitting around the radio, you know.
There's like, oh, it's about time the Americans did something about this.
Yeah, doing absolutely nothing, right? So then the one guy on the radio says, "Hey guys, it's the Americans. You know, they want to launch a counter-offensive." And the other Briton says, "Well, they finally got their act together."
Yeah, like
What?
Like, why weren't you
What?
doing anything about this?
You've got fully functional planes, but no, you're waiting for the Americans to tell you to take off? Ah.
All right. Well, anyway,
Wasn't
back to
very
the
strong on the
episode.
vote. Yes. Are we ready to move on from characters?
I'd like
Right.
to say thank you for Picard for finally managing to make Luxmana Choi stop talking for once.
Did he? When?
Yes, he did. When they were having their bickering at there's like some sort of gathering, whatever, at the beginning. I guess just a wine drinking, and he said, "Everyone, please resolve the conflicts now, or all conflicts are now resolved.
no.
Please stop bickering."
Yeah, he ordered all the conflicts to be ended.
Yeah.
Like, can you just do that? I mean, that isn't actually
Is that the
resolving.
way diplomacy works? Now, if you could sit Israel and Palestine down in a room and say, "All right, I demand that these conflicts are over."
And then they just need to like leave, and it's just over. They can't talk about it anymore. It's just done.
Right, continuity. Luxwana Troy is the big one, unfortunately.
Yeah, she shows up far too often in the future.
Yeah, the fact that she comes back at all is mildly distressing.
I mean, you'd think that they would like only make into recurring characters that were actually important. Like, I mean, she doesn't really seem like an important character.
Yeah, if they could taken her out and given some more interesting episodes with Barclay, that would have been.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was interesting having such a flawed character on the ship. Anyway, that's going off on a tangent again. Continuity. Troy and getting married gets picked up again in, I don't know, 10 years' time.
Well, and gets hinted at through the intermittent time between that as well.
I have something about the Torellians. When they first came on screen, I kind of noticed the the weird designs on their screens, and I thought, okay, that's kind of reminiscent of the original series. So I went to go see if maybe they had come from the original series or something, but no, they were just a race introduced for this episode. But interestingly enough, there are about 5 other races that are called the Terrellians, but none of them are related.
One's the Tarellian, right? One's the Terrellian. One's the Terrellian. One's the Terrellian. And one's the Tyrellians.
Wow. Really going all out there on the creativity with these names. I mean, couldn't you come up with something better? Like, just by using a random word generator, like a random syllable generator? Just come up with something that would work?
Yeah.
You know, the disambiguation page. Terrellians might refer to Terrellian Alpha Quadrant, Terrellian Delta Quadrant, Terrellian with 1 R, Terrellian, another race in the Alpha Quadrant, but it's visiting Deep Space Nine, Tarellian, a humanoid species that suffered a dreadful plague, and the Tyrellian, a species known for its laser art. which they presumably practiced on all the other species who stole their name.
Incidentally, am I incorrect? Okay, let me know if I misheard this in the episode. But they said that they unleashed the plague from like one continent or like one hemisphere basically on the other, like when they were the technology level of the late 20th century, right?
Right.
But then they said that they proceeded to try and flee on ships. But I'm like, how did you have spaceships if you had the technology level of late 20th century? Like, isn't that seems like a contradiction somehow.
Maybe they meant actual seafaring ships.
But then how do they have the time to make those things then if they're all still infected with plague? And I mean, it can't take that long to kill somebody, or else it isn't really much of a plague, is it?
No, it's weird enough time to, sit round and build ships and then develop starships and then go into space, all while this plague was going on, you understand. And now we're just going between the stars with the last ship, but, no urgency or anything. Let's just try and find a doctor somewhere to look at us. Oh no, that's not even our plan. Let's go to a planet with mystical healing properties.
I like also how they completely gave up on that plan of going to the planet with mystical healing properties the moment that Wyatt showed up. It was like, oh yeah, I'm sure that you, this one doctor, are totally going to be able to cure this horrible plague that has decimated the entire species.
Yeah.
I mean, more than decimated.
Yeah, you totally got it, Wyatt.
Because Wyatt is such a well-established, high-quality doctor, right?
Yeah, with his famous practice that everyone knows about. Right. Well, anything else for continuity?
No, not that I noticed.
No. Alright. So, moving on to technology. Is there any real technology in this episode?
What was Riker watching at the start?
Random hollow women.
Yeah.
I guess.
Where the hell did
Riker
that
does in his spare time.
I mean, as if this episode wasn't already
Like,
degrading to women in the first place. It turns out Riker in his free time sits